Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Cabinet meeting. I'm Councillor Simon Hennig, leader of Durham County Council and chair of this meeting. This meeting is taking place on Wednesday, the 16th of December, and is being recorded live to the Council's website and will be available to be viewed for a minimum of 6 months. Please be aware that any footage from the meeting can be used in subsequent media broadcasts. I would like to give a warm welcome to members, officers and any members of the public or media who are watching this live feed of the meeting. I think everyone's aware of the housekeeping rules for us all to follow to ensure the meeting runs as efficiently as possible. However, please note that if I lose my connection, Councillor Alan Napier, Deputy Leader of the Council, will take over in my absence until connection is restored. So if we can move on to item 1 of the agenda, public questions. I understand that no questions were submitted in advance of the meeting. So in accordance with the procedure rules, therefore, there are no questions for this part of the meeting. Item 2 is minutes. If I can have a mover and seconder to the minutes of the meeting held on the 18th of November, please.
Move the minutes, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Napier.
I formally second the minutes, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Hobbles. If we can move on to agree the minutes then. If there's any dissent, please can you indicate that through the chat function. Can I ask if the minutes are agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. No indications have been received, so I can confirm that the minutes are agreed. If we move on to item 3 on the agenda, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members? If not, we'll move on to item 4, County Durham Plan, Minerals and Waste Development Plan documents and Parking and Accessibility Supplementary Planning documents. If I can ask Amy Harhoff, Corporate Director of Regeneration, Economy and Growth, to present the report, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. There are 3 aspects to this report. Firstly, the report seeks approval to commence the work on the Minerals and Waste Policies and Allocations Development Plan. Secondly, the report seeks approval to commence the work and public engagement on the Parking, Accessibility and Supplementary Planning document. And the third aspect to the report is the Local Development Scheme approval, which is the timetable and programme for the implementation of those documents. The Minerals and Waste and Allocations document seeks to complement the minerals and waste policies, which are identified in the County Durham Plan, which was adopted by full council in October 2020. Sections 8 to 10 of the main report set out further detail on the process and the content for the allocations document, and there are further supporting documents within the paper which include the supporting letter, which is Appendix 3 of this report, and further detail in Appendix 4. The second aspect of this report is to provide the detail on the supplementary planning document, and the purpose of this document is to provide more advice and guidance on the policies that set out in the local plan, and particularly in regard to parking and accessibility for new developments. And the third aspect of this report then is the local development scheme itself, which sets out the timescale for both the minerals and waste allocations document and also the supplementary planning document and guidance proposed through the parking and accessibility, and also a number of other supplementary planning documents that will be produced throughout the further development of the plan. The details of both of those are set out in sections 14 and 15 of the report, and the full detail of the local development scheme is set out in Appendix 2 of this report. And overall, those documents seek to provide further detail and assurance on new developments and allocations across the county. The recommendations of this report, Chair, are set out in detail in section 4 of this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. I will now move on to the reports and recommendations. Can I invite Councillor Carl Marshall, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Economic Regeneration, to speak, please?
Thanks, Simon. Like Amy's outlined, the County Durham Plan was adopted recently in October. It seeks to make sure that County Durham is a successful place for everybody to live, work and invest by focusing on supporting the creation of vibrant communities right across every corner of the county. The plan itself also sets out plans to create nearly 25,000 new homes and includes 302 hectares of new land for business and industry in the county. Chair, the adoption of the plan is not the end of the story, and the next phase to support in the delivery of the plan and to improve the quality of developments, we now need to bring forward documents set out in the local development scheme, and these will be produced over the next few months and years to help with the implementation and the delivery of the plan. The first of these, like Amy set out, are the minerals and waste policies and allocations document. These will supplement the policies set out within the county plan with more detail and non-strategic allocations to give a comprehensive policy framework to guide the future of these important industries that support development in County Durham and further afield. The second part of the report outlines a series of supplementary planning documents which will support the implementation of policies in the plan and details the proposed approach to parking and accessibility across the county, which, as members will be aware, can sometimes prove quite controversial, in particular with new developments. Both documents will be published for consultation in the new year, and I'd encourage all of our community to get involved and give us their views and comments. These documents will help us to deliver the county plan, and I'm therefore happy to propose to Cabinet the agreement of the local development scheme and the minerals, waste and parking and accessibility documents for consultation and formally move the recommendations as set out in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Councillor Shaw.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to formally second the report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Shaw. Can I ask if there's anybody else wishing to speak on this item, please? If there isn't, again, if I can ask anybody to express any dissent in the chat function. The report has been moved and seconded. Can I ask if that's agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. There's nothing in the chat function, so the report is agreed. Thank you very much. If we can move on to the next item, item 5, Q2 2020-21 Performance Management Reports. If I can ask John Hewitt, please, to introduce this item. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Good morning, members. This report sets out details of the Council's performance at the end of September 2020, so the second quarter of the current financial year. Performance details are set out across the three main themes that are set out in the Council plan and in our partnership vision. And if I can just cover some highlights for members in terms of the content of the report. Under the More and Better Jobs theme, we're setting out details of the fall in GDP and concerns over a prolonged recession running into 2021, next financial year, next calendar year. We're also reporting a 62% increase in universal credit claims that have occurred since March, and details of the Council's support to communities and businesses through grants and support is also set out under this theme. Performance from the long independent lives is summarised from paragraph 14, and the report sets out the poverty issues facing local communities, as well as the impact of coronavirus on well-being, with more people accessing support for mental health across the county. The report also sets out from paragraph 21 the pressures on placements for children through our social care services, and on the sustainable communities theme, our environmental service levels remain good, but we are reporting an increase in fly tipping across the county. On another positive note, we are seeing a sustained reduction in carbon emissions set out from paragraph 25 of the report. Finally, Chair, the report sets out a number of corporate indicators from paragraph 28, which summarises how the Council has adapted its services throughout the pandemic, and the recommendations are set out in paragraph 35, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, John. This performance management report covers the second quarter of the 2021 year, and as now standard, the report is structured around our key ambitions: more and better jobs, people living long and independent lives, and connected communities, as well as a fourth theme, an excellent council. The report summarises some of the major challenges faced this year, not least an economic downturn, as well as some of the support offered by the council. There remain many areas of concern arising from the impacts of coronavirus, and we will continue to chart the impacts on County Durham. The report is supported by a huge range of tables, charts and statistics across all of our key areas, and as ever I commend the report and move the recommendations in paragraph 35. Councillor Napier.
Thank you, Chairman. Morning, everyone. I'm Alan Napier. I'm the Deputy Leader of the Council. I also have the finance portfolio within the Cabinet. The leaders set out many areas of excellent performance right across this Council. It is testament to the hard work and dedication of all our staff and local members that we have been able to continue to provide services to such a high standard. And I want to thank everyone for their hard work over the last year. I won't repeat everything that the leader has said, but I do want to focus on jobs and prosperity. We know that here in County Durham and across the wider North East, our economies were badly hit through deindustrialisation. We've worked extremely hard as a local authority to bring more and better paid jobs into the county, but it isn't easy and we can't do it alone. You only have to look at the universal credit figures quoted in the report to see the impact coronavirus has had so far, and undoubtedly we will feel the impact of this for many years to come. These aren't just statistics, Chairman, they are real people living in County Durham. I do feel we are facing a perfect storm here. The impact of coronavirus, the uncertainty over Brexit, and the complete lack of information on the Shared Prosperity Fund. Government should have been talking to us months ago about how to level up in County Durham, yet here we are with scant information on what the future holds on many of these issues. Chairman, members are more than aware that the Shared Prosperity Fund will replace the current EU Structural Investment Fund shortly. And these structural investment funds, County Durham has derived massive benefits over many, many years around regional development, skills, training, etc. And yet we've never ever been consulted on the Shared Prosperity Fund. And this was first mooted by government back in 2017. Now, we know the amount across the country, the £1.5 billion, but I have grave concerns on the governance arrangements on how this funding will be distributed, because it looks as if this will be controlled from the centre. Chairman, as always, we will plan to do our utmost to help local communities and businesses as we go into next year. But I call on government to act now to ensure County Durham receives its fair share of the Local Prosperity Fund and that they make clear their intentions to level up our county. Chairman, more than happy to second the recommendations.
Thank you very much, Councillor Napier. Can I ask if there's anybody else wishing to speak on the reports? If not, the recommendations have been moved and seconded. Again, if there's any dissent, please indicate that through the chat function. Can I ask if the report is agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. And there's no indications in the chat function, so I can therefore confirm the report is agreed. Item 6 is the Transport Asset Management Plan Annual Update. If I can ask Alan Patrickson, Corporate Director of Neighbourhoods and Climate Change, to present the report, please.
Thank you, Chair. This report is the annual update of the Transport Asset Management Plan, or TAMP for short. The plan is in two parts. The first part is the policy update, which sets out the principles of how our highway asset is managed. And the second part is the annual update and inventory for 1920. The adopted highway network is one of the largest and most highly valued assets under the care of the Council, and taking an asset management approach to the maintenance of the network does provide a systematic and value-based methodology to ensure the best possible outcomes are achieved. Our highway network consists of 3,800 kilometres of highway, 487 road bridges, and over 82,000 street lighting columns. And the network is fundamental to the economic and social activity across the Council for those that live, visit, work, or just pass through. The report demonstrates how the continued investment in the highway network in County Durham is providing positive outcomes in terms of improved condition and lower maintenance backlog. However, the asset is always changing and growing as we add additional inventory and through development and infrastructure investment, and this does have a continued demand on maintenance. So the asset management approach is a mechanism for ensuring delivery in this respect. So the key findings of this year's TAMP are as follows. The condition of A, B and C roads has improved. Our structures are in good to fair condition, with the maintenance backlog having stabilised across structures in recent years. Our overall maintenance backlog sits at 172.6 million. This is an improved position and it's the lowest level over the past decade, and it should be put in the context of a national backlog of some 9.6 billion across all authorities in England and Wales. Areas identified for future attention through our TAMP this year are unclassified roads, footways and street lighting columns. The report sets out the continuing investment of the Council along with the Department of Transport money in paragraph 18, and in addition it sets out how the Council's continued good performance against efficiency targets support further funding opportunities from the Department of Transport through their incentive fund, and we have had some success through that fund this year. Chair, the report also highlights from paragraph 27 the leadership role that Durham County Council has taken in the region with the North East Highways Alliance, and how this has led to the awarding of BS 11,000 for collaborative business relationships. The report also highlights from paragraph 30 some innovative work that is ongoing with partners to use plastic and rubber crumb as a sustainable surfacing material on the highway. Chair, the recommendations are in paragraph 3 of the report to approve the annual Transport Asset Management Plan and to note the ongoing investment in highway maintenance.
Thank you, Alan. I will now move on to the report and recommendations. Can I invite Councillor Brian Stevens, Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Neighbourhoods and Local Partnerships, to speak, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I am pleased to be presenting this 2020 update, which demonstrates that the Council continues to invest in its highway assets and infrastructure. Despite unprecedented reductions in government funding since 2010, our own contribution has steadily risen to almost £9 million in this financial year. We continue to be successful in attracting government funding and have been awarded the maximum efficiency score by the Department for Transport. We're also one of only 2 councils nationally to achieve accredited status for highway asset management. The highway network is the largest council asset, and I commend the work being undertaken by our highway teams in delivering a high quality service for all users. Happy to move the report this morning, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Stevens. Can I have a seconder to the report, please? Councillor Marshall.
Thanks, Chair. I'd just like to formally second the recommendations as outlined in the report.
Thank you. Can I ask if there's anybody else wishing to speak, please? If not, can we move on to then the report and recommendations, which have been moved and seconded. Again, if there's any dissent, please can you indicate that through the chat function. Can I ask if the report is agreed?
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you very much. No indications have been received, so I can confirm that the report is agreed. Item 7, any other business. I've not been notified of any other business, and so therefore that concludes the business for this meeting. I would like to thank everyone for taking part, and to those members of the public and the media who have watched this meeting. Thank you. I'll now close the meeting.